Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Friday, October 11th, 2024. And there's been some things happening in the Tim Tszyu, Barkram, Murtazaliyov situation over there in Florida. Obviously the fight has been under threat with what's happening over there with Hurricane Milton. The good news, if there is any, there's a couple of bits of good news. Probably the main thing is that the hurricane hasn't been as bad as originally thought. I think it was supposed to be a Category 5, which is the worst. And by all accounts, it's probably got to about a Category 3. Now, I'm certainly no hurricane expert, but by all reports, while it obviously causes a fair bit of damage and puts people in danger, it's nowhere near as bad as what it could have been. Even to the point, yes, I was watching a little bit on the news, and the reporter on there said, look, when it hits, we're going to be nowhere near this. It's way too dangerous. And an hour later, he was still there because it just hadn't reached the proportions that they expected. So that's probably the good news. The other part of the good news is that even if by some chance the fight was to be cancelled, if it was too dangerous, maybe the cleanup is too vast or whatever it might be, that George Rose has said, he's obviously the CEO of No Limit Promotions in conjunction with PBC, have said that they would most likely switch the fight to Las Vegas. There's actually contingency plans to switch the fight to the other side of the country, which wouldn't be easy. You've got everyone based on the East Coast, and you're going to fly them 6 hours to the other side of the country to the West Coast and put it in Las Vegas. The good thing about that, of course, is that Las Vegas, lots of places to have. It's pretty much set up for events. It's an events city, so they will be no doubt able to find somewhere to put it on short notice. There'd be a casino or something that would say, yep, we've got a spare hall that we can put it in, or a room, whatever it might be. And I would think if they do switch it, they wouldn't be really stressed about the crowd at all. It's more of obviously a TV event. Being Vegas, so it's the type of city though that you could easily get a crowd there. I mean, they could give tickets away to the high rollers or customers of the hotel or whatever. And if you've been to Vegas, you'll know that you're always sort of looking for something to do. And I think if they put it out that there was a world title fight happening at a casino on short notice, I'm pretty sure there'd be a lot of people that would go, yeah, okay, we'll head into the fights and check it out. So I don't think that's a problem. I think actually the live crowd will be the least of the things on the list at the moment. It'll be the logistics of getting the event from one side to the other. Now, it's probably no big deal for, I suppose, the officials and everything, but I'm not quite sure how it works with getting rings organised and officials organised. I'm not sure how all that sort of works, but I'm sure they would do it. And I'm pretty sure, with everything going on in the last sort of week or two, that they're probably all over this anyway. They've got everything sitting there ready to go, and they're just going to push the button. The question, of course, also comes in as when do they push the button? So I'm assuming in the next sort of day or so, they'll be looking at the damage over there, maybe looking at, is there any more storms on the way? Or more importantly, is this really the right time to have a world title fight in a region that's just been devastated by hurricanes and floods and hopefully not, but deaths and all this sort of stuff. So that sort of comes into it. So, but that is, if there is some good news, and again, I don't know anything about death counts and all that at the moment, or death tolls. Let's hope it's none. But that's probably the good news, that it's not as bad as at first thought, but also, as I said, that if even if the fight doesn't go ahead, they can switch it across to Las Vegas. And look, I'll give No Limit a massive tick on this occasion as well, because most promoters, when you think about it, would probably just throw their hands in the air and say, well, it's just one of those things. We'll just cancel the fight, maybe try and get it back in Australia in a couple of months' time. That would be the easy way out. But you've got to give No Limit credit in that they're really looking after the fighter and working hard to make sure this fight goes ahead. And I'm sure Tim would be chomping at the bit to get back in the ring. He'd obviously be pretty nervous about this whole thing going on. But the thing is too, if they switch it to Las Vegas, probably the one person that probably benefits the most is Tim Tszyu, because he's already based in Las Vegas. The whole team has been there for quite some time. it would be everyone else that would have to pull up stumps and go over to Las Vegas and where he already is. So that's probably one advantage. I'm not quite sure where Murtazaliev is based, but either way, it's probably a great thing that you don't have to jump on a plane and fly 6 hours over to Orlando. You're already there. So anyway, now still with Tim Tszyu, one of his most recent nemesises, is that the word, is one of his rivals in Sebastian Fundora, was mandated to fight Terence Crawford. Now the two have come to an agreement where Sebastian Fundora will be permitted to fight, well, not permitted, I'll get to that in a sec, but Terence Crawford has agreed to step aside of the mandatory fight and has given his blessing for Sebastian Fundora to fight Errol Spence, who by the time the fight will happen in early 2025 would have been out of the ring for 18 months. I'm pretty sure before that it might have been 14 or 15 months out of that. So this is a very, very inactive guy in Errol Spence. So it's good news for Sebastian Fundora that Terence Crawford has agreed to step aside and let him fight Errol Spence. The issue he has now is that the WBO have said, well, that's great that Terence Crawford has stepped aside. That's awesome. But Errol Spence is not a rated contender in our organisation, and if you fight him, you will be stripped. So now they've got to go to plan B. Now I think all you out there watching probably know boxing as well as I do, in that something will happen. There'll be some sort of agreement. He'll probably magically appear on the ratings. Something will happen, you would think. These types of fights tend to go ahead and the organisations jump on. I mean, the WBO, look, so far sort of standing the ground, but as I said, you just don't know what goes on behind closed behind closed doors. So that is the plan anyway. Sebastian Fundora, Errol Spence, early 2025, and then you would think that it will be mid-year. The other question I got is, I was just going to say it'd be mid-year to fight Terence Crawford, unless he fights Canelo, of course, which is probably might be the reason why he stepped aside in the hope that that fight still goes ahead. But the issue he's got is, of course, if Errol Spence happens to win, is he really going to back up sort of 4 or 5 months later? The odds are definitely not. He fights once every year to 2 years, so you would think that, he would not be able to make it to the starting grid. I still have doubts the fight will happen, although obviously this tends to lean that it will. But even if it does, I'm just not sure what Terence Crawford has got left. Errol Spence has got left. I mean, he was absolutely obliterated by Terence Crawford. Now I know Sebastian Fundora is not Terence Crawford, and that was a lightning fast, razor sharp Terence Crawford that he ran into in Vegas. But yeah, he looks so bad. You just have to wonder how he could get anything close to being able to beat Sebastian Fundora. And look, Fundora, to be honest, let's face it, the first 2 rounds against Tim Tszyu probably showed that really at his best, Errol Spence might have a chance against him. But anyway, we will see. So that is that. And again, we're all sort of waiting to see what Canelo will do. Will he fight Terence Crawford or won't he? Some other things that have been happening. What did I see this morning? I'll just get my phone out, because sometimes I make notes. When there's a few things happening, I have to just write down the points, because I tend to forget what's happened. Oh yes, now I did see sorry, just on that Fundora Spence fight, the venue at this stage looks like they're going to do it in Texas, which I think we all knew anyway. So we will again see. The news I saw this morning that Vasily Lomachenko has indicated that he might retire. Now, firstly, that would be sort of devastating to all us Lomachenko fans, boxing fans, whatever it might be. But also probably not surprising when you think about 36 years of age. Now, I think in hindsight, the writing has probably been on the wall to some extent since he beat George Kambosos. Now, he had an opportunity to take the Tank Davis fight, which is what's that, December the 14th. He's fighting Lamont Roach. That could have been Vasily Lomachenko, by all accounts anyway. So when you think about it, as I said, the writing could have been on the wall where he declined to take that fight. He wanted to take the rest of the year off and assess what he was going to do next year. Now, just on that Gervonta Davis fight, by the way, isn't it amazing that Tank Davis wants a piece of Lomachenko at 36 years of age, but didn't want him about 5 years ago when he was probably at his peak. But anyway, that's an issue for the fans to discuss and debate. But yeah, look, if he did decide to retire, look, what a career from this guy. I feel very privileged that we actually met him about 9 years ago, nearly 10 years ago now actually, in Oxnard, California, when we were over there with the Maloney boys, and both boys sparred with Vasily Lomachenko at the Robert Garcia gym down there, and it was quite a spectacle. So we'll just get out the road there. But to see him live and in person, like really close up, it was absolutely fantastic. And he was a really nice guy, very, I won't say shy, but very standoffish. You could probably tell he's got a real close circle of friends and family and his team and everything, and pretty much likes to keep to himself, because while he was friendly to us, you could still tell he was a little bit standoffish. But yeah, just a thrill to see him really up close sparring, and there's no coincidence why they call him the Matrix, because he was just spellbinding, just like a magician he was. And what was that, 2015? So I think that was when he was fighting on the undercard of Mayweather Pacquiao from memory. But yeah, so that is the case where he is going to retire. What a career! You know, multiple Olympic gold medalist, multiple time world champion. And interesting, he only probably averaged, was it a couple fights a year? I think he was a pro for 10 years and only had about 20 fights, if that. So yeah, this is a guy that was all about quality rather than quantity. But all the best to Loma if that is the case. A couple other things come into hand. I see that Jermall Charlo looks to be back on the boxing circuit. He's going to fight on November 14th on the Tank Davis Lamont Roach card in Houston, Texas. Now, that's the thing I'm a little bit pissed about, because I'm actually going to be in Houston about a week after that. So I'm going to miss the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight and that one. But anyway, so looks like he's going to fight Demetrius Andrade. But there's also another report that he might be fighting a guy by the name of Thomas Lamana, who I've never heard of, if I'm being honest. So yeah, so it's good to see Jermall Charlo back for his usual 2 to 3 year event. So, but Demetrius Andrade and Jermall Charlo will be a good fight. Got this bloody dog yapping over here. Now, I'll just get past these guys here. Little yappers, they get us every morning. All right, so now a couple other bits of news before we go. Subriel Matias. Now, there was word that he was going to be on the Liam Paro Richardson Hitchens card. That is not the case. Now, the Paro Hitchinson fight, is it Richardson Hitchens? I think it's Hitchens. The Paro Hitchens fight will be in Puerto Rico on December 7th, I think it is. Matias will be fighting on, sorry, I'm just tangled up here with Neil, it's all going on this morning. Subriel Matias will be fighting on November the 9th, also in Puerto Rico. Now, I did write down who he was actually going to fight. It is Roberto Ramirez, who I don't know much about. So it's going to be in Bayamon, Puerto Rico. Also on the undercard of that, Emmanuel Rodriguez, you remember him, he fought and beat Jason Maloney back in 2018 for the vacant IBF bantamweight title. He's going to be in with a young undefeated fighter, Jose Salas. So that's going to be on the undercard. Now, maybe I'm getting my wires crossed. I actually thought that Rodriguez had retired. Maybe I've obviously got it wrong somewhere, but I thought he had retired. But he's obviously not the IBF champion anymore. He was beaten for that. But yeah, as I said, we'll fight the undefeated Salas on the undercard of Matias on November the 9th. So again, it probably makes or poses the question again of what exactly or why exactly are Paro and Hitchens fighting in Puerto Rico a month later. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, I'm sure all will come out in good time. And one last thing before I go, Teofimo Lopez, it is the year of lawsuits. We have another one. Teofimo Lopez is seeking a release from his Top Rank contract. Lots of little hidden gems in there about why, and of course Top Rank are coming back with their reasons, and some Lopez alleging breaches of his contract, Top Rank of alleging that Lopez has probably breached some of his contracts, so another messy one there. It does again pose the question though, why are these fighters leaving Top Rank? We've seen Shakur Stevenson and now Teofimo Lopez both leave Top Rank, and I'm sure there's others as well. Devin Haney was the other one as well. I think he was with Top Rank, wasn't he? I think, correct me if I'm wrong. So why are these fighters leaving Top Rank? There's got to be some sort of reason, but anyway, I'm sure all will come to hand. So we'll see what happens with that lawsuit to add to all the others that we've had recently. There's probably about another 4 or 5 pending at the moment. So all good, guys. That is it for this Friday. It is a beautiful day here. Hope you enjoy yours, and we'll catch you tomorrow.